All right, y'all. Good morning. Here I am back in the truck making videos. Anyway, y'all, I want to talk about integrity. And, you know, we all have friends that make poor decisions. Just unfortunately, even at 40 something years old, people make poor decisions. It's just nothing you can do about it. Um, Two of my friends made poor decisions, and yesterday they were arrested and they're sitting in the Harrison County Jail. One of them, I don't think knows that I know, but the other one, pretty adamant about getting out. I told her, and I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to name gender, give you any details. If you know me and you know the situation, then you probably know. But I told this person no. Um, Reason is when you do something that you know you ain't got no business doing, especially when you're an adult, you kind of got to face some consequences. These are friends of mine. I've known these people for a quarter of a century. That makes it sound a little bit longer than just 25 years, right? Even though it's the same. I've known these people most of my life. Started hanging out with them when I was 16. I'm 41. And unfortunately for them, they found out that when you make poor decisions, you get to go places that you don't want to be. And I'm 100% okay with that. When they get out, I'm going to tell them, probably show them this video. This is what I mean by equal enforcement of the law. If my friends do something and they go to jail, they, especially for something that they genuinely got caught doing that they ain't had no business doing, they need to go. And I'll admit that. This is not this is not a slap at Matt Haley or saying that Matt Haley wouldn't do the same thing. I'm pretty sure the man would. This is about my character here though. This is to show y'all who don't know me what I'm about. And again, I'm not saying that Matt Haley would be any different. I'm pretty sure after 20 something years in law enforcement like him, he probably would agree with me that if his friends did something stupid, I would hope anyway that he'd do the same thing. I'm pretty sure he would, though. Something tells me he is that kind of guy. If he's not that kind of guy, somebody tell me. But I'm holding out hope that while he's in public office, he feels the same way I do about it. I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary. Like I said, these are my friends. If I'm willing to say that my friends need to go to jail for doing something that they got caught doing, what do you think that says about the way I feel about everybody else? This is equal enforcement of the law. This is, doesn't matter who you are, the law is for everybody. That's what this is about. I don't care if you're my friend, be one of my two sisters. I'd say cousins, but I don't really have a cousin that I talk to. Um, so, as far as I'm concerned, they're strangers to me, most of them. Could be my own daughter who's 18 now. If she did something she ain't had no business doing, I'll tell y'all what, the way I was raised, my grandma told me, boy, you got one time. After that, you on your own. And you know what? I used that one time. I really did. I was 18. I used it. And it was something stupid. Some people you just can't fix. Some people need to learn the hard lesson. That's why the law is blind, supposed to be. That's why the law, we got Lady Justice, Lady Justice holding the two scales blindfolded. Yeah, that's the way I'd like to be. That's the way I would like to see myself. And if I can't see myself that way, then I don't have the integrity to ask for your vote for this office. It's that simple. Again, this is just my character. I thought that this would be a unique opportunity to show y'all who I am, who Anthony is. And also let y'all know that I am 100% for equal enforcement, no matter who you are. No favors, no favoritism. No, come on, man. You've known me. We grew up together. I don't care. You're going to get treated the same as everybody else. Fair treatment, lawful treatment. But I'm sorry. I'm going to have your articles of clothing. I'm going to go ahead and search you. Here's your jail uniform. That's all there is to it. Phone's over there if you want to call a bondsman. Just the way I feel. I don't care if you're rich, poor, friend, or foe. I also want to take this opportunity to talk about some of my plans that I want to implement. I know I touched on a few of them. You know, I found out something yesterday when my friends got arrested. I did call up there and find out what the policies were on the new turnkey fee when I called up there and found out their bond. You know, Matt Haley's doing something that he's really skating the line of getting sued. And I'm hoping that maybe somebody will see this video and it'll get corrected pretty quick. Um, the turnkey fee. They are charging $25 per case number, as I understand it. That ain't right. You get somebody in there that has multiple charges, even if they're old fines, and you start um, charging them for case numbers. I have, as a former bail bondsman, I have bonded out guys from Harrison County that have had 6, 7 charges, different case numbers. A lot of them were the same charge, contempt of court, but they was different case numbers. Contempt of court for this case, contempt of court for this case, contempt of court for this case. As it was explained to me yesterday, and I really hope it was explained to me wrong. I really, really hope that it was explained to me wrong. But if it's $25 a case number and you got 6 or 7 charges, you're talking an extra, $150, $175 to get out. The minimum that you're going to pay a bail bondsman in the state of Mississippi is $150. I really, really, really hope that this is not each little misdemeanor, you get a $25 turnkey fee. I really hope that's not the way it is. I really hope I misunderstood this. But if I didn't, we're fixing to get sued, y'all. Our sheriff's department is going to get sued, and we, the taxpayers, are going to be on the hook for it. Personally, I don't understand why we even have a turnkey fee. We went years without it. I think Brizzolera got rid of it. As a matter of fact, I started bail bonding in 2015, and there wasn't no turnkey fee at Harrison County. Now, Jackson County had one, Hancock, Stone, and George County had a turnkey fee back then. But Harrison County did not. And that was back in the Brizzolera days, and hats off to Melvin Brizzolera, good man. But why did we bring this back? And if I wasn't mistaken on what I was told, why is this a thing? Anybody want to tell me that? And I don't know that Brizzolera got rid of it. Hell, George Payne may have got rid of it. I don't know. I don't know which sheriff got rid of it initially or when it was done away with. But I know as of 2015, it was not there. So at least for the last 10 years until now, there has been no turnkey fee at the Harrison County Jail. All of a sudden, we have it back. Why? And again, a $25 turnkey fee is punitive, in my opinion. But to step up with it, why are we putting it per case number? If you look at the docket, you'll see a lot of people in there with a lot of different misdemeanor cases. What is the point of this? Somebody wants to bond out and they've got 50, and, again, former bondsman here, contempt of court makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie. That means you've missed court. As a bondsman, if you are a bondsman and you see this, you're going to understand exactly what I say. When your job is to get the client to court, get your defendant to court, apparently something happened, and by choice or otherwise, the defendant did not show up to court. If he was on bond, that kind of falls on the bondsman. If he wasn't on bond, that means that the defendant doesn't like to take care of his business. One way or the other, somebody screwed up, and I would kind of lay it at the feet of the defendant, just because, hey, you got court, when you got court, you should have showed up. That being said, contempt of court by itself, if you're going to pay a bondsman to get you out, and it's a surety bond, not a cash bond, you're going to pay $150. But if the guy's got 5 contempt of court charges, and I think contempt of court's like a $500 or $600 bond, so that's $3,000 in bonds. Let's say for 6 of them, say it's $500 a piece. It's going to cost you $350. You got to pay the bondsman to get out. And now the jail wants another $150 on top of it. That seems awfully punitive to me. So now it's going to cost the defendant $500 to get out. Some bondsmen will work with you, set up a payment plan. I don't know of any that will do it for contempt of court. I'm using this as an example. I certainly would really think twice about doing it on a contempt of court. But I'm throwing this out there. I think it's opening the sheriff's department up for a lawsuit if that's the way they are, in fact, doing it. And if that is the case, it's not lawful. It's a misinterpretation of Mississippi law, and it's setting a dangerous precedent. It's also, again, as I've said before, punitive. I want to talk about something else that I've had on my mind. I went and sat down with a good friend of mine last weekend when I was home. As y'all can see, I'm back in the semi. Um, but I went down and sat down with a good friend of mine. We sat down over there by Jones Park in Gulfport, and we had a good long conversation about my plans for running for sheriff. You know, my friend that I sat down with, I hate to go racial on this, but I've got to because there's no other way around it. She is a black female who was a victim of police brutality at the hands of Gulfport PD. If you know any of the cases that I'm working, that I'm trying to investigate, you probably know who I'm talking about. And this woman, I love her, I respect her. She's a good friend of mine. really intelligent. And I asked her a question. I said, what would it take for me to gain your trust? What would I have to do to show people, people mainly of your demographic who have been targeted by racial profiling? I know some of y'all just clicked off the video, and that's okay. Oh, you're a liberal, Anthony. Not really. Um, but what would it take for me to gain your trust? And she said transparency and showing. Now, truth be told, I've already got her trust, and she told me that because, you know, the other way we know each other. But as a white law enforcement officer, former law enforcement officer as I am, I'm not current. I want to make that clear so somebody doesn't say, oh, you're impersonating. Hypothetically, as a white law enforcement officer, I'm already probably not going to be trusted in areas of town where people live that don't look like me. Can we agree on that? Oh, you white redneck police. And you know what? I'm okay with that because I understand why. And I understand that I'm going to have to earn that trust. I understand that I am going to have to show people that I mean what I say, all the while enforcing the law. People don't like to go to jail. People don't like to see their friends and loved ones go to jail. People, some of them like to say, oh, well, they ain't did nothing that bad. It ain't that serious. Well, sometimes it is that serious. Sometimes you just got to go. It's that simple. Again, equal enforcement of the law. Nobody's above it. That's the way it has to work. I do believe in police officers' discretion. However, sometimes the cops got no choice. You just got to take them to jail. Hopefully, without a use of force. Let's face it, no cop really wants, well, some do. No real cop who actually understands the oath that they took to get their badge wants to use force. Nobody who takes that seriously wants to use force. Again, I've used my share of it. I don't like doing it. I will. I have. But nobody wants to. And with cameras everywhere, somebody's going to be recording. So, transparency with complaints. Officer gets a complaint on them. I, when I'm sheriff, want to look at those reports. And if I start getting a bunch of complaints, I want to find out what's going on. Actually, if I start getting complaints, I want them investigated. Period. First complaint, because if I can nip it in the bud at one, if the officer, deputy did do something wrong, I want to correct it because I don't want it to happen again. But I want citizens, volunteers, to look over these complaints as well. I've always thought that IA, Internal Affairs, investigating their own was kind of like the SS investigating Auschwitz. I've always thought that. Just like HR's job is not to protect the employee, it's to protect the company. IA's job is to protect the department. And they're going to do whatever they can to try to mitigate lawsuits and things like that. That's their job. Just like your HR at your job. They don't want to be sued. So they're going to say, okay, we investigated and we found we did nothing wrong. I say the citizens have a right to investigate too. I say if I got a deputy out there that I've got 3 racial profiling complaints and excessive force complaints on, something needs to happen here. I need to investigate and find out what's going on. Yeah, IA is going to investigate. But I would like a citizen committee, volunteers, to come in here and look at that as well. And I would like them to make a recommendation to me on whether it's founded or not founded. And if I have a problem child on the street that IA is not doing their job to get rid of because they think that I don't want to know about the problem, which they'd be wrong, and they're going to know this. Now I have an outside, unaffiliated committee saying, hey, we see a problem too. We can't trust this person to protect our community because of this. That's called transparency, people. We had a cop years ago in Biloxi. I'm not going to say his name. I don't think he's a cop anymore. But two people that were acquaintances of mine, they were a little down on their luck, and probably by their own choice. Um, was told by him that he was going to kick them through a wrought iron fence. They were sitting over there behind the Shell station on Pass Road at Rodenberg Avenue. And that wrought iron fence that sits there in between the Shell station and that, what is that, a nail salon? I think it was back then. I don't know what it is now. It's my old neighborhood and I ain't been over there in a while. But over there across across the street from like Jackson, all that. Said that he was going to kick them through that wrought iron fence. And I'm like, well, you need to report that. I have also seen this officer do a few other things that I didn't like and heard him say some things that I didn't like that made me question if he was really cut out to be walking around the streets of Biloxi with a gun and a badge. I thought that this person was very volatile. Um, I've seen him snap on citizens at a drop of a hat. He snapped on me. Of course, I snapped right back. Me in my 20s, yeah, I've calmed down a lot. But if this person would have went before a citizens committee and all the complaints against him would have been put out to an unaffiliated, nonpartisan group of individuals to make a decision, I think we can weed bad actors like this off the street. I don't know why or what happened, or hell, he may still be a cop. I don't know. I haven't seen him in several years. I don't know. And again, I'm not going to name drop. But he certainly did not have a business being a cop, in my opinion. There are officers, unfortunately, like that. Law enforcement is shorthanded. As long as you can pass the test and pass the academy, you're probably going to get hired. We've seen it. There's stories about it on the internet where people who were coming from other agencies going to other agencies because they left under a cloud and the chief or sheriff or whatever decided that, well, you know what? Better him somebody else's problem than my problem. That's not how I'm going to do things when I'm sheriff. I will thoroughly investigate every candidate applying for a job with the Harrison County Sheriff's Department and make sure that this person is a good fit for what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to take, you left Ocean Springs PD and you want to come over to the Harrison County Sheriff's Department because you had, you know, citizen complaints of mistreatment of civilians and, five excessive use of forces. And no, you're not coming over here. I don't want you. I don't care what you thinking. Now, if you want to come over here because you believe in what I'm trying to do and you actually want to serve the citizens of Harrison County, I'll welcome you with open arms. The jail shorthanded, the street shorthanded. I don't like the idea of turning people away. I don't like the idea of firing people, but you know what? Damn it, sometimes you just got to make the hard decision. I'll go ahead and tell you all this too, because I'm sure this is going to come up. Yeah, working corrections, I was a hard ass. 100%. Still am a hard ass. 100%. My attitude here, honestly, my attitude behind the gate was probably more toned down than it is in person. And that's because I do believe in de escalation. However, I had my expectations and I expected everybody to meet them. And that means inmates. And if my expectations were not met, there were consequences. Disciplinary reports would be written. Um, Privileges would be taken. They'd go to confinement. not solitary confinement. Confinement. There's a difference. Um, yeah, I have zero zero regrets about anything I did as far as that goes. I need your support. I need y'all to share my message here and all my messages. I know I'm nowhere near even registration time. I know that I'm nowhere near getting ready to even start the real fight. I'm starting early. I'm starting 22 months before the primaries even put in front of y'all because I need help. I need grassroots support. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking y'all to help like, share, and get my message out there so that other people who want change in the community and integrity in the office of sheriff will see who I am and see what I'm about. I appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a good day.